You'd be forgiven if you'd been following Elon's speedrun to crash his latest purchase into the ground for thinking he's doing this on purpose, because it sure does seem like he's got a game plan, but does he? Does he? Well, let's look and see if he's a genius revolutionary who's operating on a level that we, the great unwashed, can't understand, or if he's a billionaire out of his depth. Part 1. X. Let's all start with the name, Twitter. Now, Twitter is the only thing you can dead name these days without being cancelled. We've all agreed that you can rebrand it X all you want, but we're all still going to call it Twitter, even if that is a bit of an insult to what the site once was. Companies don't just rebrand things for the sake of it. It costs a lot of time, money and effort, especially if your main competitor / cage fight opponent already trademarked the name for social media purposes. Sometimes a rebrand will lose a company's sales in the short run, especially if people don't follow the new name or they have too many porn tabs open. So if we're looking at this in terms of Taylor Swift albums, which is how you should look at everything these days, this was very much the end of the Twitter era and the start of the X era. And that's important because that and Elon's subsequent interviews, where he talks about making a WeChat for the West, lets us know that he had no interest in keeping the site how he purchased it, and instead wants to now offer a payments video multimedia app thing. So, did he want to destroy Twitter? Kind of, but not exactly. Let's look at what he said the site needed. Part 2. Elon's promises. Elon said he wanted to get rid of the bots, which is a fair aim, especially when you remember the flight tracker. I can see now why he wanted to get rid of the bird logo. Any reference of flight has to go out the window, or else the people won't forget this. And consider that some reports claim that up to half of his followers, slight update, more than half of his followers are bots. He also wanted to create a free speech platform where anyone can carry a sink into a building or use a racial slur, especially if you pay him $8 a month to keep it on the site. Now personally, I prefer it if people are allowed to say their horrific views out loud, because I'd rather know who they are so I can avoid them, or debate their stupid hot take, rather than have them live in the shadows. But as I covered in this video, Twitter, now X, has not been a place for a good faith debate for a long time. But who gives a shit what I prefer? What matters to a for-profit company is who's paying the bills. Part 3. Advertising. Shockingly, advertisers don't want to have their carefully constructed posts next to bad takes, bad actors, or even worse, bad words. I'm putting this bit lightly so that I don't get flagged. Most social networks are a two-way marketplace. That means that technically we are a market that needs to be kept happy, and so are the advertisers. Currently, one side gives him a lot of money and the other side gives him nothing. And yes, I know he's trying to make us pay for a subscription, but that's going down about as well as a ton of bricks because we're used to getting social media for free, and truth be told, there's no actual value in us paying for the service. But on the plus side, at least other social networks aren't following in his footsteps. Oh wait. He purchased Twitter to make it more free for the users to make jokes or whatever, but in his mind that means a subscription-based playground. And he keeps saying that he doesn't want a lords and peasants system, but then implementing more and more of them on the site. Also, I'd argue that Elon is addicted to Twitter, as it's a direct link between him and his base of fans, in the same way that the Truth app is Trump's link directly to his base. So I honestly think that Elon, for everyone, was as addicted to the site as he is, and they wouldn't leave if he changed things up. I think we are where we are right now because his fragile ego is getting in the way of him asking people who have more knowledge and experience than him, what should he do next to make the site profitable? And if I was able to give him any advice, even though I am not more knowledgeable or experienced than him, I'd tell him that telling the world that advertisers are killing the site and they're blackmailing you makes it look like, firstly, you don't understand your platform's business model, and secondly, you're willing to blackmail advertisers to prop up your site, which doesn't make any sense. So I don't think we should be asking, does Elon want to destroy Twitter? He has. What we should be asking is, what does Elon have to lose if he fails to turn Twitter into X? From a user perspective, Twitter, pre-Elon, had its faults, but we just kind of got on with it. But from an investor point of view, I can see why him and his investors saw it as a chance to go big. The user base has always been smaller than other social media sites, and it has never really turned a profit or paid any dividends. So Elon could have been looking at the town square and thinking, well look, it could use a shop or two. The problem is the townspeople had objections, but he didn't have to ask anyone for planning permission. So he just went ahead and got confused when the townspeople got fucked off. Does that analogy work? I feel like it makes sense. In a wider perspective, the whole internet is being pulled in two different directions by two different types of content. video and text. Short form video has taken over a lot of what we consume, and every platform and their dog is trying to adjust to hoover up some of that attention, instead of trying to build up the community that already exists there and valuing us. And Elon is ruining one of the best text-based social networks because he can't see past his tunnel vision. There are places in the world that don't have reliable or stable enough internet connections, so they can't just watch videos on end, but they do want news in real time and updates, and that's where Twitter came in. So now Elon has made a gaping hole in the market, which Zuckerberg is more than happy to hoover up, because we do need a text-based social network. So yes, I think Elon wanted to and has destroyed Twitter, but no, I don't think he wants to destroy X, but he hasn't got either the goodwill or business knowledge in this space to make it work. And what we're witnessing here is somebody who has a safety net that's so big he has nothing to lose except the dopamine hit when his fans tell him he's a fucking genius. So he is going to continue with X until he gets bored, or we leave him alone, because the worst thing you can do to someone who is addicted to attention is say, sure, you carry on doing whatever the hell it is you're doing, and we're going to sit here and ignore you because we honestly don't care. Godspeed.